Don Mooers, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. A long-standing issue for older people comes when money is mixed with a failing memory. Henry Hailstock, who appears on our program on a regular basis, is here to comment. Questions regarding the environmental impact of farming throughout Maryland have been with us for a long time. Charlotte Davis, Executive Director of the Rural Maryland Council, actually, is here to explain. Rock Creek Park celebrated its 125th birthday, and the Rock Creek Conservancy celebrated its 10th anniversary, both of these in 2015. Matthew Fleischer, Conservancy Executive Director, will tell us all about it. The Craig S. Knoll Integrated Health Center in Kent Mill opened its doors recently to provide behavioral health care, dental, and primary care to its patients. José Luis Diaz from CCI Health and Wellness Services is here to explain how this new health center will operate. Henry,
yes.
I know you're going to say what? What an awful situation. The memory loss combined with people taking advantage of those with memory loss, especially in the financial areas. Is this a growing problem?
It is. It's bad enough when you get the robocalls and people trying to scam you on a regular basis, but when you have Alzheimer's, which is a form of dementia, and quite frankly with you, 5.1 million people in America have Alzheimer's.
Wow. It's a huge
and
number.
it expects to triple, nearly triple, by the middle of this century. And it's really a shame. If
So
you
it's an inviting target for those who want to scam.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you'd be surprised at some of the industries that are affected by that. Let's say that you have a financial planner.
Sure.
And you have some of the signs of, not paying your bills on time or not paying them at all or paying them too much. You're taking out an enormous amount of money out of your account and everything and what have you. If you have a financial planner, he or she can't really do anything about it because they're obligated to, privacy. And but you only have about 3 states who are really trying to regulate that, so that because really they are the ones that really see the signs before anyone else, even before family members.
I was watching, there's this show called Better Call Saul on AMC. and the storyline this year seems to be really bringing this very issue out in the open, where nursing homes, extended care facilities, that they charge $2 for a Q-tip, for instance.
Yeah.
And it's not just the person who's going to knock you over the head and steal your money, but it's these little things where you're not paying attention. You don't think you can fight back, and yet you're getting ripped off.
I was telling you a story about my aunt, having a personal experience of that, but we eventually had to put her in a nursing home because she had Alzheimer's, and it was very progressive in that. And I looked at some of the charges. Laundry alone, doubled, not to mention the people stealing the clothes and making you have to pay for it. It's really upsetting.
So
but
what steps should we take to prevent that?
Well, okay, I'm glad you asked that question, because really it's up to the family members and if they have a financial planner. Most people don't have financial planners. But if you have a friend or a family member that seems to be forgetting to pay bills or looking at, getting extra money because of a scam, like the lottery, somebody calling up, you just won the lottery, but we need a certain amount of money for you to collect, that's what you have to watch out for.
What steps do we do if we find that happen?
Well, you talk to them and try to talk them out of it. A prime example was a gentleman that was in Maryland who I think he was the executive director of a major bank. He started, forgetting some of his assignments, forgetting some of his, some of his clients' stuff, forgetting to pay bills. The family really started stepping in and giving him a debit card so they can keep track of what he was doing. Took all of his credit cards away, but unfortunately one time, like around Christmas, he bought all his gifts, but he forgot. So he searched around the house and found one credit card. In 45 minutes, he had a bill of $800.
Oh, wow.
So he bought everything. He even bought little clothes, children clothes for his adult, kids. It's crazy. It's really crazy. You got to watch out for it.
Have there been any medical advances in addressing Alzheimer's?
Well, if you had, I think it was 2 months ago, tuned in when I was here, I was talking about the Alzheimer's, and
One of the best shows we've ever had.
it really wasn't. They're working on it, but it's nothing that can really come out right now. But it is a growing situation that you got to be aware of. But we say, really, nutrition, exercise, and really watching all your meds. Those are the main things. That
Exercise
you
is
really
key, definitely.
Yes,
Getting out
absolutely.
into the park, getting out into nature. I mean, it's just a great way to.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. Really, that's really true. But those are the things you have to be, cognizant of. And I have to say, really, when you have someone who is up there in age, 65 or older, please watch out what they're doing and how they're doing it. Really, just visit in, on them, see if they're paying their bills on time, and they're not overpaying. Because really, Pepco had to call my mother, who's my aunt's sister, and say, she's overpaid. She was something like close to $1,000, overpayments and all.
Well, it's nice that they call us when we're overpaid. They certainly let us know when we're underpaid.
Well, they knew it was a series of
How's Montgomery County doing in helping people in this situation?
I love the way that we are espousing, staying healthy, exercising, watching your nutrition, and there, as you know, there's various programs around here that you can take advantage of. So please have people do that, because that's very important. And I see it primarily in Montgomery County and all. But the biggest thing I would say is pay attention to your family and friends. You never know, really. And Alzheimer's can hit you at a very young age. And that's
What age can Alzheimer's start to affect you?
As I say, we knew a gentleman that was 45
Wow.
that was diagnosed with
We
onset
got
of
about 10
Alzheimer's.
seconds left.
And so those are difficult conversations to have in families, right? That have to do with planning the future. Those
Exactly.
are things that are hard to do. But
It really, very much so. Very
We'll
much
hear
so.
more about it, I'm sure, in the next go round with Henry Hailstock. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Charlotte, welcome back.
Thank you.
Rural Maryland
Yes.
is so beautiful, but it also, as you are a wonderful spokesperson for this, it's a working environment. It produces so much of our food and our fiber and we have our Chesapeake Bays, and just for sailing it's crabs and oysters and fish and all that. So that balance, aren't we here talking about balance between
Yes.
the agricultural needs and the environmental
Right.
needs?
I mean, here in Montgomery County, you're a great consumer of agricultural products here. Everybody likes to eat 3 times a day. But we like to think of our farmers as the original environmentalists. I mean, they are the stewards of the land, and they want to do their part and make sure that they're raising, food and produce in a sustainable way. They're heavily regulated. They are certainly under restrictions through the Department of Agriculture and also the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They all have to file nutrient management plans. They all have to file, if it's a confined feeding operation, they have to have permits from the Department of Environment, just to make sure that the excess nutrients aren't running off into our watershed. That is a huge concern.
Let's talk about that. The sources of those nutrients. So I take it with the agriculture would be the excess fertilizer and pesticide.
And manure.
And then on the other side would be the confined, would be the
Yeah.
manure in the space. So how bad of a situation is it? And I know you can't say bad, but what tell us about the breadth of the situation.
main challenge is with our poultry industry. We produce,
Which is primarily Eastern Shore, correct?
Lower Eastern Shore.
Right.
Most of the Eastern Shore is, other than poultry, is grain and soybean to feed the poultry.
Okay.
So they've got to. We produce over 300 million chickens a year, and these is primarily exported up north, up into New York, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. So we're not even eating our own chicken here, but it's our largest economic output, if you look at manufacturing.
And if we want to look at other parts and other aspects from the Rural Maryland Council, there's a website.
Yes, it's rural.maryland.gov. So we are an independent state agency. I'm funded through the state's operating budget. I spend a lot of time in Annapolis talking about these issues, and we want to strike a balance between making sure we have a clean bay. We want to make sure we have enough crabs and oysters, not only to meet our demand for those and provide a living for our people that live along the watershed. We've got a lot of people that live on the eastern shore, and that's how they make their living. We also have a problem with sediment coming down through the Susquehanna and across the Conowingo Dam. That's a huge controversy. It's under relicensing now with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
And those Pennsylvanians don't care about our bay the way we do they?
No, they don't. I mean, even some of parts of Maryland, it's hard to convince them, you know, way out west, why it's important.
That's what I was going to really mention. We're talking about the Chesapeake, but think about the runoffs that you have with the creeks and the rivers that are really flowing into it. People don't think, well, I'm a long ways from Chesapeake, so I'm not affecting it, but actually you are with the runoffs and all. And what gets me is really the, you know, you talk about the cows, the horses, you know, and the chickens and everything with those runoffs near the creeks and all. And just think about the heavy rains that we have,
Well,
and the snow.
that's the
and
biggest
melting
issue
of
with
the snow.
Rock Creek
Yeah.
too, and that's of course Rock Creek flows right into the Potomac, right into the
Potomac, yes.
Chesapeake,
Yeah.
and so not only do we have agricultural runoff into the bay, we have this, you know, urban runoff into the bay and all the pollution that comes.
Well, we just had that huge overflow in Baltimore City through its municipal treatment
Right.
plant.
It was terrible.
You know, that's tons of raw sewage just flowing directly into the bay.
Yes.
And just in my neighborhood, we had last year, we had the a main break right in, unfortunately it was not in my backyard, but in the complex they had a breakage there, and it went into this little creek, and the creek flows into a little river, and you know, in the lake. It's a problem.
Apparently we're shortchanging you a little bit. We went long on Henry, but we have to shortchange you on. So we've only got a little bit over a minute left. Give us some things that you're doing and some things that we in Montgomery County can be looking to try to help mitigate.
What we
minimize
tend
this.
to promote is agriculture education, and we also promote going out, look at your farms. Montgomery County does have about 500 farms out here in the western portion. You've got some beautiful pick your own operations. Come out to the farm, look at how they're raising. You'll be much more comfortable with that produce. Plus, that wealth is staying in the local community. And then buy local. Maryland does run a website called marylandsbest.net, so you can look to see, and it lists everything from produce to livestock to eggs and breads, and purchase locally, because that means that the money that you spend stays in our community, stays in our state.
You know, one thing that people don't realize, crabs. We actually produce not nearly enough crab to meet the demand. And so many restaurants mislabel and say Maryland. And I think one of the best things people can do is demand to have Maryland crab, because there's nothing better than that in the world.
They're supposed to, restaurants are supposed to list that on their menu if it is Maryland crab.
Okay.
So look for that.
Charlotte, we're going to look for you coming back next time. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome.
Well,
Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, the Rock Creek Conservancy, what's this all about?
So we protect the lands and waters of Rock Creek and work to revitalize Rock Creek Park for everyone to treasure and enjoy. So I'm just excited because it's 80 degrees on my thermometer as I'm coming in this afternoon.
On the day of taping
On
here,
the
that's
day of
right.
taping.
It's nice today.
And it is gorgeous. And springtime in Rock Creek Park, you know, it's just such a beautiful place to get out with the, you know, all the birds are singing. You have, you know, the flowers are starting to bloom. And it's just great to get on the trails and get out and.
When Rock Creek Park was first imagined 125 years ago.
Yes, 1890.
18, you know, was this the purpose? Was it to be the urban respite, or a respite of all the growing urbanization all around?
It really was. It was Olmsted Jr. who designed it, and he really.
Olmsted and important Central Park and somebody
Yes,
else's,
exactly,
some other places.
Exactly.
Right.
And it was, you know, kind of a philosophy of city beautiful at that time, where people needed that place to go. I mean, the stress of every day working in the, you know, it's the district, it's the capital. I mean, the president lives here, and you need a place to go and find that relaxation and touch nature. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Rock Creek Park, is that it's a wild area, right?
When I was in high school, you don't have to say that. When I was in high school, I took advantage of it. It's a hill that I can't remember the street intersection that I used to run up. It's steep.
There's a lot of hills.
to you know, exercise and train. And even when I went to college, and after college when I started playing pro, that helped me, and it got me in shape. And it's just beautiful. And you forget, the strain that you're putting on your body because of the beauty around there. You just
It's
so happy to
true.
run
It's
it.
true, and it's a national park in the district, and it's a regional park in Montgomery County, right? So you have we work closely with the National Park Service in protecting this environment and revitalizing.
People can learn more about Rock Creek, learn more about the Conservancy. How can they find more?
RockCreekConservancy.org is the best place to go. One of the things that's coming up soon is protecting the lands and waters is our extreme cleanup. It's the 8th annual extreme cleanup. So we have about 80 sites all the way from the mouth in Laytonsville, our headwaters in Laytonsville, all the way down to the Potomac River, where people can come out, they can clean up. We've, over the last 7 years, I think it's 16,000 huge garbage bags that we've pulled out of the creek, and it's a testament to the community who loves the park. They come out and
you still
just
need
clean it
more.
up.
Have you seen an impact with the Montgomery County's ban on plastic bags with trash?
Yes, so there's a bag bill that, and what we actually advocated to help pass that, and we've seen such a significant drop in plastic bags in the creek since that. It's a great testament to what the county is doing to help protect the environment.
What a small investment. It's just a nickel a bag,
Yeah.
and people don't get it.
Yeah,
That's right.
because
Well,
they-
I'm one of the proponents, even though I never remember to bring them in, but I always buy them when I go to the store. But the length of the park, that sounds like it's pretty big.
It is. It's 33 miles. 33 miles, all the way from Laytonsville to the Potomac, and there's countless tributaries, over 30 tributaries that come into Rock Creek. And so, one of the things we were talking about is, urban runoff is just such a problem as agricultural runoff is in the farmlands. And, those are some of the steps that we're really taking as an organization, the Conservancy, to build rain gardens. Individuals in their backyard
So important.
So important. And they can do little things.
Or in their
like-
front yard, right?
Or the front yard, exactly. Disconnect their downspout, so it's not running straight into the street and going straight into the creek, because that's the biggest problem is that when it rains, that's the great thing about spring is it warms up. Well, it also rains very hard, and all that water goes straight into the creek, pulling the pollutants from our streets.
Everybody can do a little bit that would reduce the strain on Rock Creek, reduce the strain then going to the Potomac, and then reduce the strain going into the Chesapeake.
Exactly. Just a little bit. Put a little conservation garden in your backyard, so the water doesn't go. Get out. Over 2,000 volunteers will come out April 23rd, and that's just such an amazing thing. And
it's still not enough.
It's still not enough.
And it is so depressing. In my old neighborhood along Rock Creek in Kensington, we pull out tires, we pull out shopping carts.
Shopping carts, yeah.
Unbelievable. But there's another aspect of Rock Creek Park that you're missing out, and that's the romance.
Oh, yes.
Because going up to, I got down on one knee and Fort Pierce and the Pierce Mill, up on the tributary, up on the hill. I got up, walking with my wife, and I got down on one knee right there. It was the most beautiful place I could think of.
Yeah, well, that's
and
great.
to her everlasting regret, she said yes 25 years ago. So that's another
We'll have
part.
to get the whole story and put it on our website. We
There
love
should be a
stories like
plaque.
that, yeah.
There should be a plaque in there commemorating
Being
that.
a native native Washingtonian.
Both of us.
High school, that was a romantic spot. But I was so glad that they do have the park police come around after a
15
while.
seconds.
Because I almost proposed 3 times in high school. Thank God for the park
You
police.
did.
I'm still wondering what the park police was for me.
Presidents wooed their wives in Rock Creek Park, and even Teddy Roosevelt was known to have skinny dipped in Rock Creek
Is
Park.
that right?
There we go.
That's what they
Well,
tell me.
let's leave with that vision. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Luis, let's talk about CCI and this great effort going on with Kemp Mill. Tell us
Thank you.
about it.
We're very excited. This is a long time in the making, and is a dream that was started at Cornerstone Montgomery by their previous CEO, Craig Knoll. He understood that behavioral health, which is the focus of that organization, is compounded. And one of the things that most people forget about is their primary care. So he wanted to incorporate primary care services within the behavioral health home. And we finally have that. It's called the Craig S. Knoll Integrated Care Service Center. And it's right in Kemp Mill.
Well, I guess a couple things. One is, what are the issues that ties together? I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me, just philosophically. But is there something specific about the behavioral issues?
Yes,
that then
absolutely.
go into the
Research
others?
shows that folks that suffer from behavioral health issues, their life expectancy is reduced by 25 years, mainly because they forget about checking blood pressure and glucose levels and keeping up with chronic stuff that anybody else does on a regular basis. So by bringing the primary care under the behavioral health medical home, you're taking care of that.
Now, there's a website people can learn more
Absolutely.
about CCI as well as about the Craig Knoll.
Absolutely, it's cciweb.org, and you can find all of the other centers that we have throughout Montgomery County and Prince George's County, and talk about all the different partnerships. One of the things that's important about the center is the partnership. We can't do it alone. The Cornerstone people can't do it alone, and it's by forging those partnerships that we can expand.
And before I open this up, I know everybody's got questions, it's important to understand that CCI, you are the safety net in our community.
So we started as a safety net in Rockville back in the late 60s. And fast forward to now, and we are multi-site, integrated, many different services. We just received accreditation by the Joint Commission for the third time, which is a accrediting national board that basically says we adhere to very high standards of quality. Only 25% of health centers across the nation have that accreditation, so it's a big deal. So it's not, we used to be a safety net, we now see anyone in the community, folks with insurance, without insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, all of that.
You
So-
bring up a good point for families, period, that have people in their homes who really have a problem and they have to deal with it, but sometimes they forget the primary care issues. But you bring
And
up that
dental
good point.
care. There is a lot of health issues that are related to our dental care.
Right.
And sometimes that gets out of sight. Sometimes it's because of insurance or cost. And so having everything under one roof makes it a little easier to keep track
Sometimes
of it.
because of fear, because I know some football
Yes.
players would not even go to a dentist because
No, we
of
had that
that.
issue with a little girl in Prince George's County some years ago where she died because she didn't get the health care. And I know
Absolutely.
you all
For
work so
simple
closely
infection.
together. I know with the University of Maryland, with the dental school there, with the University of Maryland.
And our own dentists. We have an amazing team of dentists that take care of folks.
How can someone really sit down and talk about your services and get involved with your services and everything?
Just give me a call, go onto our website, send us an email. We have 16 sites that provide these services in a different denomination, different configurations. And we're very excited to open this because it really serves a major number of people.
How many languages do you?
So we have over 260 staff across all sites. We come from 28 different countries, and collectively we speak 23 languages.
Wow.
Something we're very
Yeah.
proud of.
Are you
That
seeing
helps.
issues with substance abuse? I mean, that's a huge issue right now across the state, and we're seeing it's cutting across every, not just rural and
Yes.
urban. Is it? Have you seen that
Absolutely.
here?
Because we are an integrated practice, behavioral health is a component of the primary care service delivery, and at every visit of any patient, we do a little, it's called ESPERT, which is a substance abuse rapid intervention.
We've got about a minute left in the segment.
So the providers ask a series of questions and determine the level of risk and make a decision whether or not that person needs a little counseling about that.
Counseling. Okay.
Yeah.
And about how many people are you serving?
So we serve annually about 18,000 people between both counties. We also run the WIC program for the state, and that covers about 33,000 people. So we're talking about
amazing.
almost
That's great.
60,000 people across.
What's the most serious case that you had to deal with there?
In terms of,
Someone with disorder and health issues that come as a result
About
of that.
20 seconds left.
the case, because it's an integrated practice, we see all kinds of configurations of things. And because we're focused on the wellness of the person, we not just look at the symptoms, but everything else that takes into place.
Oh,
But
okay.
we'll come back and talk more about that.
Is it a promise?
Always.
Promise you'll be back?
Sure will.
Promise you'll be back? Promise you'll be back? If you can remember. Thank you guys for joining me today. And thank
you.
all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Mooers, inviting you to join us next week at this very same time.